What's up, glorious community? In this video, I designed another YouTube thumbnail for my upcoming video on my personal YouTube channel, Build with Omar. In this video, we actually ran a workshop with an expert from Mixpanel. He essentially walks us through the process of integrating Mixpanel into one of our Framer websites. Now, of course, that's a different story, but the purpose of this video is show you, of course, when I have a video launched, what does that process look like? So I have to, of course, create a compelling thumbnail that draws viewers, especially for people who are searching for specific answers to their questions. And YouTube, of course, is one of the top SEO engines. So I want to make sure that not only is the thumbnail catchy, but has the relevant information for them to go ahead and click to learn more. So let's go ahead and jump into my YouTube thumbnail file. Now, as you can see, my YouTube thumbnail file is right here. And one thing I typically do on Glorify, because it's infinite canvas, I like to keep all my thumbnail designs in one place. This just allows my workflow to be more efficient because I have all the assets from previous thumbnails in one place. So it's just a case of duplicating an existing design and then continuing from there. So for this, because it's a workshop, I could use this thumbnail, which is actually relevant. I ran a workshop a while ago and I designed this thumbnail on Glorify. So in this case, what I can do is select this thumbnail and I'll hit Command D to duplicate, and I'll now bring it to a section where it's empty. I've got more space to think clearly. So that's going to be overall the structure of the design. What I want to start with is adding the relevant parties within the images over here. So we have Merveen Pandu, where I'll get his profile image. Now I'll head over to LinkedIn to see if I can find a picture of Merveen. There we go. There's a picture of him. Let's see if we can open this up. There we go. That's a much better picture. And we'll go ahead and copy that image. Head over to Glorify. And we'll hit replace. In fact, I'll replace him with one of these images. We'll ungroup this first. And take this and hit replace. And I'll hit paste. There we go. So that's been pasted inside. What I want to do now is edit the image just to scale it up. So I can use these property sliders, scale it accordingly, move it on the X value, and there we go. So that's a nice picture of him. Perfect, looking sharp, and we're good with that. So the second picture I won't need for this particular video, so I'll remove that. We'll add his name, Merveen Pandu. And we'll add Mixpanel below his name, and let's give a different color. Maybe we'll choose the brand colors that I have and use one of these. Of course, these are subject to change depending on which primary color I go for this particular workshop thumbnail. I am not the coach in this case, so what I want to do is delete that and do that, and yeah, so maybe we can do something like that. I can't remember what I did I recently ran another like a podcast style video, and in that, what do? We have your host, and yeah, so we had with and your host. So we could do something like that too, where first of all, let me ungroup this. It's getting a bit complicated, and I'll put to read. Cool. Okay, so that looks good. We'll put W, so this is to be like understood as with. Global Mixpanel. Let's put Mixpanel expert maybe. Expert. Okay, Mixpanel expert, live workshop should be sufficient, and we'll close the gap on these as well as the shape. Oh, I don't want that. I want to double click that and close the gap right there. Yep, looking good. So that will align on the right, left. Now we have 80K in MVP sales. We're going to change this from a previous title. What do we say here? So we want to say Framer Mixpanel. Now this particular video is video 1 of the installment. It's a 5-part series. It'd be nice to convey the 5-part series, maybe like a number 1 out of 5, video 1 out of 5, something like that. And then we can also add the title of this particular video. So let's figure this out. So I'll do Framer Mix Panel, and the video title should be clear here, to be honest. So what we want to say, I mean, either that or we just have the same copy of the thumbnail every installment of the series. We just duplicate this so it's familiar, and then we have somewhere in some kind of subtext communicating that it's, yeah, I mean, I could also remove me as well. I don't feel like I am necessary to be on the thumbnail because it's my channel, so that's something to consider. But before I make a final call on that, let me just play around with the layout here, and I want to add that. Let me ungroup this and let's say video 1. So this is how every video will have, you know, the video number, and do you want to say out of 5? Just say video 1, and we'll say video 1. It's going to be called okay. All right, let's select both of these and we'll center these up. Great. Text is centered up too. Video 1, creating a tracking plan. Now, what I don't want, I'm going to remove this for a second, is I don't want, of course, this is going to be tiny, so we should be able to read everything even if it's this small, and right now it's very hard to read. Let's just see what it currently looks like on my channel. Go to my channel and see how this thumbnail actually played out. So that's the thumbnail. We can read everything on there clearly. And let's go to the home page where the thumbnails appear smaller. So here as well, you can read everything. So that font size isn't the worst. I'm going to check it on my mobile as well, just to double check if everything's okay. This is really important about thumbnail design, is making sure everything's legible cross device, right? It's something we always forget. So looking at this too, you can just about to see in the thumbnail smallest version size, you can still see the text, which is what I was hoping for. So the fact that I can see the text, the small text, that's good, but it is still very small. And the problem is that this text is not just a supporting text or anything. It's one of the main texts. Saying that, we also have the title on the video. So we have to think of this strategically. We have the title on the actual YouTube video title area. So for example, like this is the title and then we have the thumbnail. So technically that can save us. But still, if we're going to include it, we should give it prominence. So it's understood that this is a very important piece of information. So I'm going to move this arrow over here, video 1. Probably design this new style of thumbnail, which I haven't done before. Looks like there's an extra space there. We don't want that. It's nice and centered. In fact, what we could do is remove that and put that. There we go. So now we've got the little pill design, which highlights that it's a live workshop. So it's kind of secondary information, very common for like these kind of pill designs. Now I can align that on the left very nicely. I want to squeeze the size of this and let's just increase it. Video 1, creating a tracking plan, right? Now, it's tempting to just do this, part 1, to shorten it even further. Part 1, or we can come up with some kind of text version of that without having to clearly show video, because this looks good, that looks good. I'm happy where this is going. It's about condensing the information. We also need some logos in here. We shouldn't just have mix panel. Let's chuck in the Framer logo. Boom. Center back. There we go. So we've got some shadow action going on the text. That looks nice. I like the depth too. And then we've got the texture layer. So just so you know, I've obviously I duplicated this thumbnail design. All my thumbnails has this noise layer over here that's locked. And this is what gives this cool texture that is kind of signature of my thumbnail designs. I don't use it for all the text, but a lot of the layers, if I want to kind of give it that differentiation, I use the texture. So we got the logo there. We also need Mixpanel's logo. So I'm going to find Mixpanel logo. Let's find the actual icon would be good. Ooh, there we go. Nice little version of that. And we'll head over here and stick it in there. Nice, beautiful logo. What I want to do is add a shape and holding shift just to make it an equal square, and then I'll add the logo inside the shape, and we'll make sure it's a pure white. Ooh, there we go. And this way we can also control the radius, and we can scale this thing down so there's a bit of padding. There we go. So now we've got a nice logo. We can scale that down. So we've got the right size at least. What radius are we looking at here? We're 25. So that's how that works. Yeah, so I have to kind of guesstimate. Okay, that's fine. I also want to give a little bit more padding to the logo. So just scale it down ever so a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Does this have shadow? No, but what we can do is send this to back and give it that texture as well. Now it might be even worth finding a logo that is, you know what, we don't need this arrow. I think this arrow is just a waste of space and it's complicating everything. And this as well is not helping. I feel like I've had a two-name video in the past, and I feel like I remember combining. Oh yeah, so we do this arrow. Ooh, that is nice. Let's use this technique over here from my old Webflow to Framer video. So I'm going to stick this in there, and we can use this one, send to back, and send to back. Put that right there, nice and aligned, and add some space. Ooh, we have to stretch the width of this. There we are. That looks epic. I love it. In fact, we can scale this up so slightly. Great, I'm happy with that. Put the logo right here at the end, and Maveen Pandu's picture can go. In fact, what we can do is group this now and stick that far top. So the main contents on the left. It's very tempting to add video 1 over here. So what I want to do is stretch this perhaps and do video 1. There we are. So doing live workshop, in fact, do it this way, video 1. Maybe stick that right there instead. All right, so looking from far, I quite like the design of this overall. It is looking cool. I think I might go for a medium-sized font because this is looking too bold. This one's looking great, the font at the top. I'm not happy with the alignment mainly. So what I'm gonna do is take all of this, and you know what? I will do a 1280, there we go, 720. A better way is I'll add a border. Okay, that could be better. Okay, so that gives me some insight on where the framing should be, and I'm going to make the fill invisible, and I'll make the actual frame yellow but make it transparent. So there we go. So now I can see some good framing. I want to reduce the framing. I feel like it's too much, and from here what I'll do is lock it. So I'm going to use this as a reference, and we'll take these elements and stick it up in the corners to match this framing. So this will make everything feel visually balanced is what I'm looking for. Balance in design is so important. It's so important, and I can't stress that enough. Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of design is not balanced enough. So yeah, that's looking much better. Now it's tempting as well to scale this as well, so that it hits the edge. There we are. It's a nice size. That hits the edge. Mervin Pandu, I've put his name for short. And wait, let me ungroup this. Make this a bit smaller, maybe. Make this a bit smaller. And we'll edit the image, scale it down. Just give a bit more room, make it a bit more roomy. Still good size. When I scale up, I can still see his picture. It's definitely not as clear as it was when it was bigger, that's for sure. But at least it saves us a lot of space, you know? That's what my goal was. So let's stick this right there. Cut. Okay, so framer. I'm gonna lock this layer. So locking layers are very critical if you want to get more control on your design. So if you want to play with the layouts and things like that, you need to lock your layer. It's very important. And I feel like the text shadow has disappeared almost. And I don't know why that's the case. I don't recall. Maybe it was the shadow was applied on the group level. And if that's the case, when I ungrouped it, perhaps it lost the shadow. But adding the shadow now, I can see it there. That looks good. I'm going to blur it up. And I'm going to, yeah, it looks nice that way, and give it some depth. That way it feels like this is all in 3D. It's giving a nice amount of depth. Framer. Yeah, so now I can actually add this logo there without it feeling lost. So there's framer. And this one can sit at the back too. And there's Mixpanel. Man, do I really want a purple version of this? I'm sure they have a purple version of this somewhere, so let's go and find that. Mixpanel logo. There we go. That's the old logo. This is someone's design project. I don't know if this is someone who actually designed the branding. Oh, it looks like it was. And there we have it. This is the different colors of the Mixpanel logo, looks like. So I think based on this, we can actually use it. This is a beautiful branding project. All right, so Command-Shift-Control-4. That's how I've set up my shortcut. And I'm going to drag this over, and we'll head back to Glorify, and let's paste that in there. I mean, the white logo looks good, but this will give it more contrast. We're going to edit image and scale this up all the way. Give it a nice little. There we go. That's so much better, right? Now that's really clear. We can play around with this with more flexibility. Yeah, so even that looks pretty cool. Alright, so I'm going to just play around with the positioning until I get it right. Now that I've got a layout that I'm really more or less happy with, what I like to do is create a few variations. And the cool thing about YouTube is that they allow you to upload multiple variations and see which one is the top performing version. So let's go ahead and do this. We'll quickly try a gradient version. Set this to a radial gradient, and we'll make the middle one of the primary colors and the other end the same primary color but with a 0 transparency. And we'll set the main one as well with a little bit of transparency but not all the way. So about 34%, looks great. So this creates a really cool glow. As you can see, I'm going to send this all the way to the back and that should bring about that texture I'm looking for. Great. Alright guys, so I'm done with my thumbnails. I'm really happy with them actually. They turned out really cool. And yeah, what I'm going to do next is add them to my YouTube. Now I've created 3 variations with 3 different colors using my brand color palette. So to do this, I'll simply select all of them, hit the download button, and then from here what we'll do is choose JPEG, and we'll keep it at 1x, 100% quality, hit download. That should do the trick. These will now start to download. Once they're downloaded, now that they're downloaded, we'll head over to my YouTube video where I'm about to launch this video, and we'll go to the thumbnail bit, which is details, I believe. Head to the bottom, we'll choose test and compare. From here, we'll choose the different thumbnails I want to try out. I'll just select this one as number 1, this one as number 2, and this one as number 3. Now YouTube is the one will decide based on data. It'll monitor, which thumbnail gets the most clicks, and it'll make the one that gets the most clicks the winner, and remove the other thumbnails and make that one the final thumbnail. Now I'm really happy with this thumbnail because it's my personal brand channel. I didn't feel like I needed to put my avatar on this video. My avatar will be already in the avatar profile image, so I'm happy with that. Secondly, it's got all the information we need on the thumbnail. It has frame and mix panel as the highlight in big, massive text, which is important. This thumbnail is going to be consistent throughout this entire series. We have the tag for saying that it's a live workshop. We have the video number, video 1. We have Merv, displayed here with his avatar and who he is and what he represents. And finally, we also have the actual title of the video, which is, in this case, video 1 is creating a tracking plan. What's great about this is we can simply duplicate this thumbnail for a future video and simply customize the text accordingly for the next installment. So really happy with this. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial, guys. Glorify is powerful for creating YouTube thumbnails, as you have seen. In fact, I use Glorify for all of my marketing visuals across all my social media channels. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like and share this video to anyone else that might find this useful, and happy designing!